Okay, so fine. So for the initial 5-10 minutes, we'll have a small discussion about whatever we learned yesterday. If you are stuck up with anything, with any of the syntaxes yesterday, so I'll unmute all, and then I'll whoever wants to ask any questions, they can mute themselves and ask me. So whoever wants to ask me anything, or if they want to share anything, let's have a 5-6 minutes of good open around discussion. So please unmute yourself, and if you want to share anything or if you want to say anything. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, who's this? First tell your name and then you can start.
Hi, my name is Naren. I have one question on this, little bit deviating from the course content, but what to understand, the different programming models, like when I hear like too many programming models, I'm little confused. So will you be able to cover that in this training?
I'll give you though it's not a part of the content of this training, but I'll just give you a small glimpse in 1-2 minutes. See, right now, before this modern ABAP and all coming into picture, we were writing the conventional ABAP, right? So what happened with S4 HANA 1809 and with ECC NetWeaver versions getting upgraded and all, so this modern ABAP syntaxes and all the syntaxes started coming into picture. This is one advancement. Now, coming to the different programming models that you are asking me, okay, like Fiori apps development with only CDS and annotations is one of your ABAP Fiori programming model for your Fiori apps development. That is one, okay, wherein you develop the apps, wherein you will be having your CDS as your underlying base, as in all the annotations and all will be there, and little bit of plus and minus of some UFF small, not much. Second, that is one kind of ABAP programming model. Second is that if you want to make those applications in terms of like CRUD queue operations, like create, update and delete, then your BOF come into picture, that is called BOPF programming model. That now after BOF came into picture, what happened actually, this BOF is not much successful. So as a replacement of this BOF and to support in both cloud and on-premise, that is from S4 HANA 1909 version and your cloud, as in you might have heard about ABAP on cloud. So ABAP is now gradually migrating to cloud as well. Okay, so in the coming years, many projects wherein you will be working, you will be seeing that ABAP is on cloud. So with respect to all these, that is ABAP on cloud and your S4 HANA 1909 on-premise system, this RESTful ABAP application programming model came into picture. So with this RESTful ABAP application programming model, there also you use CDS and annotations as your underlying base, but there some more advanced concepts comes into picture, like your unmanaged, managed behavior definition and behavior implementation, and all those concepts come into picture. I'm just telling you in a gist. So suppose, example, you might have seen the promo of SAP Yard, like from 12, they are starting with RESTful ABAP programming model, right? So that will be covering of how the latest advancements in SAP with respect to how you can develop apps, that is Fiori apps, with respect in cloud as well as on-premise on S4 HANA 1909. So this is the just small glimpse of the journey what SAP has come across during this like past 2016 onwards, like 3, 4, 5 years. Is it clear now, Naren?
Yeah. A follow-up question for that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So again, we are using different tools like Eclipse, HANA Studio, Web IDE, And again, when it comes to RESTful ABAP programming, we are going back to Eclipse and Web IDE.
Eclipse only.
Yeah, Eclipse
So
and
yeah. So see, normally there are 3 tools as of now. Okay. Come 13th November 2020, there is a big surprise. I don't know whether you people have heard or not. So come 13th November 2020, this Web IDE trial will be out of picture. Okay, that will no longer be existing because your new environment from your SAP Cloud Platform will be obsolete. So only they will be focusing on the Cloud Foundry as they are completely migrating to cloud-based, as in Amazon Web Services and all those things. So Eclipse is basically, if you see Eclipse, in Eclipse you can do all kind of developments, whether theory, because in Eclipse you can, as I told you yesterday, ADT is sitting on Eclipse, right? Because you are installing a plugin. So similarly, like how you are installing a plugin for ABAP from http://tools.hana.ondemand.com by going to ABAP and then installing that link, right, Naren? So similarly, I can install other plugins as well, like for UI5 and HANA. But what happened actually, before this Eclipse came into picture, even HANA Studio also existed, right? So even now, actually, if you ask me, with CDS and AMDP and so much advancements coming into picture, now with yesterday or a few days back, one blog came, wherein now CDS is also going through much more of a change now, from NetWeaver 7.55 version. There will be something called CDS view entities. Okay, so lots of change is actually coming around. So if you ask me, normal to keep it very straightforward and simple. As of now, if you want to work with any ABAP on cloud or ABAP developments which requires code push down or where Eclipse is the only picture, you have to make use of Eclipse. If you want to make use of Fieri apps development, whether you want to go with custom UFI apps or template-based apps with respect to CDS and annotations, as of now, you can use either local Web ID or your cloud-based Web ID. From November, again, it will change. So whatever I say, see, it is all subjected to change within the coming months. Okay, as of now, I'm giving you the latest update. Then the third thing which you are telling is the HANA Studio. To make it simple, more popularly it is used for HANA-based developments only, as in your HANA development and HANA modeling. People haven't used that much for your, like how we use Eclipse. So I hope that if it answers your question.
Yes, yeah, it's very clear. Thank you.
Kabir,
anybody else?
Kabir, this is Kiran.
Yeah, hi Kiran.
Hi. Again, around the same topic only. BOP, yeah, there's lots of questions on that.
Yeah,
so BOPF is still active, right? You said something BOPF.
BOPF is still active. Actually, see, if you have seen SAP, don't you think in these last 4 years, the way SAP is changing each and every 3 months or 6 months, it was never like that earlier than 2016, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, for cloud they are releasing.
If you see, every 3 months they are coming up with something or the other, right?
Correct.
And that is even forcing us to constantly reskill and upskill, right? Because the demand, as per the demands in the project, right? With like, see, it will not be possible for all. Like, if you ask me a very basic question, now that the problem is SAP comes up with advancements, but they forget about the earlier versions, right? Now, example, Eclipse. Yesterday, someone was asking me a question like Eclipse, which versions and all, right? So, during the training. Even in the group also, I think Raju was telling that people were asking whether it's applicable for 7.31 or not. So now the see that most of the blogs or most of the articles, they are saying 7.4 and onwards, right? Everywhere if you see, they are saying 7.4 and onwards. Yes. Now SAP is forgetting those past things. Now, if you tell me clearly, I think you will agree with me, with SAP increasing the support of ECC till 2030, and still S4HANA is not yet very much popular with clients across the globe, right? Still people are on ECC, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's not like that people have completely migrated to S4HANA.
Correct. Yeah. Many clients
right.
are not done.
Yeah, many. I think if you take on a percentage, then approximately I'll tell. So approximately if you ask me 30 to 40% or maybe we can say 30 to 35% only on S4HANA. Rest all on ECC. So, though this kind of advancements are coming, see example RAP. RAP is only for S4 HANA and ABAP on cloud. Leave ECC. Forget also ECC. So RAP doesn't exist anywhere if you are on ECC. You won't be able to make use of RAP, right? So then it becomes a completely cutout for all the people who are working on ECC systems, right? And the second part, as you're telling about BOF, actually what is the plan about SAP is, similarly to BOF, you can make use of RAP and whatever, see, BOF in one line, if you want to make an application transactional as well as your CRUD queue based, like create, update and delete. See, if you see CRUD, if I remove that R, make it R silent, CRUD. So create, update and delete, if I want to do this, then your this thing BOF was coming into picture. But why I am saying it is not, though, since it's not much of a success, that's why. And if you ask me here in this call only, if we ask, as of now, there are 45 participants. If we ask how many of them know BOF, many will not be able to say, right? Or even if we have heard about, we don't know how to use a draft and all this functionality and all. So see, SAP is coming up with advancements. BOF came. See, before BOF, if you ask me, they came up with plain CDS with annotations. Then they came up with advancements called Fieri templates with CDS and annotations, so as to make your development much more faster. Then they came up with BOF. Then they came up with your RESTful application programming model. So see, advancements are keeping on going. It depends on, if you ask me, it depends on how we are going to utilize it in the project.
Yeah, correct. And also we should get an opportunity, right?
Yeah, right. That's also a very important point.
Okay. But what is the success for BOF? Okay, this is the last question. I'm not going to ask anything.
If you ask me, BOF is not at all much successful. People can disagree with me. But if you take the analysis, BOF is not that successful. And if you see it's not yet implemented across all projects, across all companies, across the group. That's why if you see SAP is now trying to sell RAP. Everywhere if you see any major big diamond partners of SAP, any big MNCs which are diamond partners of SAP, SAP is going and trying to sell RAP. They are trying to sell ABAP on cloud.
Okay.
They are no more telling about BOF. Right.
Okay.
So, can RESTful ABAP be used in on-premise programming as well?
Yeah, with S4 HANA on-prem 1909. That is the minimum. That is the minimum. Without that, you cannot apply RAP. With 1909 comes into picture because last year, your 2019 September release, with that on-prem, RAP came into picture apart from your cloud. Just for your kind information, SAP Yard is conducting a training from 12th on RAP. So if anybody is interested, you can enroll for that course. And people will get a chance to work on S4 HANA 1909. So the current system which you are practicing now, it is S4 HANA 1809. But for RAP, you all will be given access to S4 HANA 1909.
What is the duration of the
Okay, one guy asked me a question, high exposing REST. We will be covering the consumption of REST API, Pranay, not the exposure, because whenever we want to expose data from SAP, most of the non-SAP applications are easily able to get the data from our interfaces, as in your web services or about your this thing. What do you say? Your OData. Best is your OData example. You can anytime, any day go with your OData. OData is a RESTful API services. Expose it as an OData, give them the URL, make them use the URL. And if it's a SAP to SAP application, anyways, you can make them always interact with PI was always there. Then your web services was always there, proxies are always there. Okay, let's have a last question, then we will start for the day. Any last question? Yeah, Sudha, I know that timing for RAP is conflicting. You can just drop a mail or ping to SAP or WhatsApp this one. Let's see if we can arrange again a separate training after this course is over. Not an issue, because the training keeps on happening in different batches. So anyways, even if you miss the same, you can enroll for that. So any last question? Then we can start.
Hi Kabir, Gaurav here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Gaurav. please proceed.
Yeah, Kabir, so my question to you is, predominantly going forward, as I see, I mean, you would have two environments for SAP. Say, for example, whether it's S4HANA or ECC, but one would be the cloud version and one would be the on-premise version. And so, in terms of your view, what do you think the stacks would look like? In terms of the technology stack, programming models that will, look like on both of these very different environments going forward. I think you were pointing to the new environment going away and only focusing on Cloud Foundry. So a bit more, I mean, just to get your view on how things are.
Cloud Foundry, what I was telling was with respect to your SAP trial. If anybody of you have ever worked on your any kind of theory applications, if you have made use of your Web ID Cloud, I was telling with respect to that only. That was with significance to that. I was just giving an update, heads up to you all that come 13th November, if you see, if anybody of you have worked on SAP, you will be able to see that if you have any of you are having either a licensed version, as in the Web ID full stack from your organization, or if you have created a trial version, you would have seen that there were Neo in SAP Cloud Foundry, right? So if you go to Neo and then the Web ID you were accessing, which was your Web ID trial thing. So come 13 November, that Neo environment will be gone because they are completely migrating to all cloud-based services only. Okay. As in they have tied up with AWS and all. So the problem is SAP is shifting more towards open source, and which is making us more challenging. Okay, fine then. Let's start with today's topics. I'll mute you all. Then we can have a discussion further after 1 hour. Okay, fine then. So one last question to yesterday, whatever we understood with respect to all the syntaxes, I hope you have all practiced them. If you have not practiced, please do practice them by today. And second thing, start applying all those concepts in your day-to-day projects. And third point, so I hope that you don't have any doubt with respect to those three things, right? Creating an instance of a class, how to make use of inline declarations with respect to different scenarios. And the last but not the least, making use of CONV operator. So can we proceed now? Just a small heads up from you all. Okay, fine. I hope that we had a good, healthy discussion right at the start. Fine then. So just confirm if you are able to see my Eclipse. Okay, fine. So for the timing, I'll just comment yesterday's entire thing. Okay. So today's agenda will be, we'll be focusing on concatenation operator, like how do we concatenate now using the pipe operators. Then how to read the internal tables. We will move away from the read statement. I will show you different scenarios. Then we will make use of a value operator. It's a very useful operator. These two will be very vital, and as you will be using the same across through multiple things, these two will be widely used across many of your syntaxes. We will understand how to read a complex deep type structure or a table type having deep structures by making use of chained table expression. And with this read internal table with size sub RC, will be moving out of picture. How do we handle terms in case if a line is not found while making use of table expressions? Okay. So concatenation using pipe operator. Fine. Okay. First of all, let me show you the old syntax. Example, Suppose I want to write hello participants, please, then welcome to day 2. So earlier, how do I used to write? So data LV concatenated type string, then your text1 type string, then your text2 type string, and then your finally text3 type string. Okay, so here text1 type string, I'll pass a value as hello. Here I will pass a value as participants, and here I will pass a value as welcome to day 2. Fine. So earlier how we used to write? Concatenate text1 text2 into LV underscore. Make use of control and space much and much so that you don't have to write. Separated by space. Okay. Then this concatenate LV underscore concatenated then your suppose after participants into LV underscore concatenated. Okay, then I used to write concatenate LV underscore concatenated text3 into LV underscore concatenated, and finally I used to write LV underscore concatenated. Okay, let me just activate this. So control and F3. Okay, white is locked. Just a second, I'll remove the lock. Okay, fine. So I've activated the program. I'll just see the output. So hello participants, welcome to day 2. So now if I want to rewrite the same thing in a new way, I could do SM12 from Eclipse as well, but if you would have seen, sometimes when I click this, it takes more time to open the linked SAP GUI. Because actually it depends from system to system. My net is a bit slow. So that's why I do. I can do it from here also, Stephanie. I hope it's okay. So now for the new syntax, what I'll do, see here, I'll make use of pipe operator. So data text1 type string, value hello. I'll copy here text2 type string participants, and I'll full stop. I'll make this text 3 and I'll make it the value as welcome to day 2. Okay, so now what I'll do, data, I'll make use of inline declaration. So LV concatenated equals to, make use of this pipe operator. Okay, see forward slash, above forward slash there is a pipe operator, and then make use of curly braces, there is a second bracket. Now type here text 1, then your ampersand, then I wanted to show participants, right? So PARTR participants, then again okay, so after that was a full stop, space, again ampersand, and then text 3. Okay, let me close it here and write LV underscore concatenated. LV underscore concatenated. Do a shift and F1, do a control and F2, do a control and F3. So now if I rerun the same, if I execute the output, hello participants, but see one thing, a space did not come here, right? After hello participants, a space did not come here. So what I did here, see, pipe operator open automatically. If you give pipe operator, open and close, then curly braces, open and close, then your text 1, then ampersand for concatenating, then participants, and then welcome to day 2. This is way 1. You can do the same. There is one more way also. Let me show you. So LV underscore concatenated equals to, make use of pipe operator. Always whatever you write, it will be inside your pipe operator only. Then open bracket, close bracket, text 1, then space, then use a single ampersand operator, then your open pipe, close the pipe, single ampersand operator, then use here participants. See here I did not put any quotes inside it here. Then ampersand, then open pipe, close pipe, then inside this text 3, and if I close it again. So see here what I did, open pipe, close pipe, text 1. So the syntax is, whatever will be having a variable, having a dynamic value, make it under braces. Second thing, if you are using this syntax where you are enclosing a pipe after every end of a variable or whatever it is, then if you concat, you can use either a double ampersand or a single ampersand. Okay, now if I do a single ampersand here, see an error will come. This will not understand. So if you are doing the entire thing inside a pipe operator, make sure you need to give double ampersand. If you are not doing the entire thing inside a single pipe operator, if you are breaking it up into multiple pipe operators, then you can give your single ampersand. So I made use of this variable, then a space, then participants, and here if you are writing it inside a pipe operator, no need to give quotes. Here I haven't given any quotes here. Directly I can use the hardcode text if there is any, and then again ampersand operator and then text 3. Now if I take the output of the same, see here, hello participants, welcome to day 2. Okay, now so as I was telling you, even if you replace the same with a double ampersand here, see there will be no error, but if you remove it here, there will be an error. So small point to be noted, if you are doing the entire thing inside a single pipe operator, you need to make use of double ampersand. if you are breaking it up into multiple pipe operators, you can either make use of a double ampersand or you can make use of a single ampersand as well. Anything is fine. And if you are making use of multiple pipe operators and if you are using in hard-coded text, no need to give any kind of double quotes or a single quotes or anything. Second point, you can't put double quotes here. See, it will not understand. Because obviously double quotes in SAP always used to mean commenting, right? So don't put double quotes. So second, one more important thing is that inside the concatenation operator, there are certain functions also you can use. Suppose if you want to manipulate any string with respect to its case and all. Yes, Indu, I'll go one by one. So don't ask me questions in the middle. Let me first cover this. So what I was telling is, inside these pipe operators, either through this syntax or through this syntax. Let me write, this is way 1 and let me write, this is way 2. Either in this syntax or in this syntax, if you see here, I have written concatenated separated by space if I want to give a space, right? Here, if you see, you don't have to give any space. If you want to give any space here, you can directly put a what do you say, after ampersand, just open quotes, close quotes and a single space. Or if you see here, if you use this syntax, inside this, if I close this, no, there will be no space. Let me show you the output. See here, I have removed the space in between, and if I run the output here, see here, the space is gone. So if you are formatting in a text and you want to put space in something with respect to the output that you want to show, so if you want to put a space, you need to put a gap between these two pipe operators to make it understand that there is a space. And if you are using this, then you need to make use of an open quote, close quote, and put a space for this thing, for making it understand a space. So with this syntax, there is one benefit is that suppose there is a lot of things that you need to concatenate. I don't have to write multiple concatenation statements, right? 1, 2, 3. I have to write 3 times to make it do this. Here, instead of doing that, I can use inline declaration and directly use it. And I can keep on chaining it as much as I want. And one important point which I was telling is that in case, suppose if you want to convert this text to uppercase or lowercase by making use of functions such as to mixed case, to upper, to lower, you can even apply the same, and that you can concatenate at one go. Okay, this is the how you replace your concatenation from old syntax with a new syntax. But now there is one restriction to this. What is one restriction to this is that suppose earlier when we used to write with the with the old syntax, there was a written code called sai sabarsi. But that sai sabarsi will not be coming into picture with this new syntax. Let me show you one case. This is just one of the drawbacks. Remember this. So suppose let me just for demo purpose lv underscore length I will give as 5. Okay. I will not give any type because by default I want to make it C, and lv underscore length underscore new, and here I will give the length as again 5. Okay, full stop. Then let me take a variable as lv underscore length 10 equals to, and I'll pass 1 1 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay. Similarly, let me pass one more variable with length 15, and I'll pass 15 times 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. Okay, fine. Now see, I'll just do something. Return code results. Right. Okay, full stop. And then I want to skip a single line to put space. Now see here, LV underscore length underscore LV underscore length underscore new equals to, I will use the new syntax here. Okay, so in the new syntax, what I'll plus LV underscore, I'll concatenate LV underscore, I'll try to concatenate these two, LV underscore length 10. Okay, I will go with the second syntax, that is, again I'll put a open bracket, this thing, and LV underscore length, this thing, 15. Okay, now let me close this. Okay, now suppose if I write if size sub RC not equals to 0, okay, and else and end if. Okay, so here if size sub RC, write here error data will not fit via modern syntax. Okay, and I will write the result as LV underscore LV underscore length underscore new. Okay, fine. Else, I'll just copy paste these two lines and I'll write it here. So here I will write no error returned. Okay, and here I'll write skip. Similarly, now I'll concatenate the same using the old syntax. LV underscore length underscore 10, LV underscore length underscore 15 into LV underscore length separated by space. And now let me copy from here and put it here. Now if size sub RC not equal to 0, error data will not fit via old syntax, and this I will make it LV underscore length, and this I will make it LV underscore length. Okay, now see the difference here. I'll just comment this right, LV underscore. Okay, now see the difference here. Here using this I have used the new syntax. Here using this I have used the new syntax. If you see here clearly, this is 10, this is 15. Ultimately to the expression that we want to write the result of this, that is of length 5, right? So using this new syntax I have tried to show if I can use size sub RC or not, and using the old syntax I have also tried to put size sub RC equal to 0 or not. Okay, now see here, if I execute the same, let me just activate this. See here, it is showing me no error returned. Can you see here? No error returned. Result is 11111, and here error data will not fit via old syntax. So if I go to the code, when you do a concatenation, you used to do with an old syntax, and if there is any code where anybody has put any size sub RC checks, that is still comes into picture, because that will be able to detect whether this concatenation was successful or not, as in with respect to any kind of restriction if it is facing. But with respect to the new syntax, if you see here, though I have put size sub RC not equal to 0, there will be no change in the size sub RC. As in, since I wrote, why did I write this earlier? So as to show you that the size sub RC, there was no impact. Size sub RC became 0 as it was. Once it came here, then it changed. Example, what I mean is, if I just do a control X from here, I write a script here and I put it here. So what will happen now? Here the size of RC value will come as 4, right? So now let me show you the output. If I do this, I activate the same and I run the same. See here, error data will not fit by a modern syntax scheme. Why? Because size of RC got changed with the help of this, right? Now size of RC became 4. So this will not have any change on size of RC. Whatever was earlier with respect of any other processing blocks or any other statement that you are processing and it is returning a size of RC written code, that same will still exist. There will be no change for this. So that's why when I had put this up, size of RC was behaving as 0 because it did not make any change. And when I put this down, size of RC is behaving with the value of this old one. There is no change. So, okay, you want to see through debugging? Fine. I'll put a breakpoint here. Okay. Now let me activate. See here, I'm using this thing. Okay. Let me do an F5. Size of RC shows the value as 4. Okay. Size of RC shows the value as 4. So now, that's what I told you. If I do an F5 now, it will go out, it will go here. Now this size of RC 4 which is with respect to processing of these statements, right? So when you go here with this new syntax, just a second. When you go here with this new syntax and if I do an F5 here, this size of RC, don't think that this has written any size of RC change. This size of RC is because of this. To make you understand better, let me do an F8 of this. Let me go to this mode. Let me close this. Let me again put it back at the top. And let me remove this skip. Let me activate the code. Once I activate the code, let me remove the breakpoint from here and let me put the breakpoint here. Now see the difference here. Let me see. Okay, sorry. Okay, program activated. Now see, size of RC is 0 here, right? Because prior to this, there was no statement which was returning any written code as size of RC. Now if I do an F5 here, see here, size of RC is still 0. There is no change. So that's why it will directly go to this part of the code. And that's why I was telling here, whenever you are using any new syntax and there is any code which you are seeing where a developer has written make use of size of RC, because he wants to make use of the result to check whether concatenation was successful or not, do not go and change that code. That will be hampered. I hope it is clear now. Aldo, is it clear now with debugging? Willie? Okay, fine. Now let's move ahead to the second part, as in how we will read an internal table now. Okay, so I'll just comment this course for the time being. Now let's come to how we will read internal tables. Okay. So example, let me first select certain data. So select asterisk from SNWD underscore SO up to then rows, then into table at the rate data at the rate data LT underscore SNWD underscore SO. Right, we did this. Imtiaz, why do you want to use separated by? Ankit, apart, if you want to just see in concatenate, normally we don't need to validate. Why I told you the drawback? Because normally whenever we're working on projects, sometimes we get some issues which was written by some other developer also. Right? So in that case, if an old developer has made use of size of RC, that's why I told you the drawback. Normally while concatenation, normally we make use of the type called string and we concatenate the entire thing and then we pass it as an output, or if we want to pass it to some other variable or however we want to use it. But if somebody has made use of size of RC, with respect to the drawback only, I told that part. I hope it's clear now. Okay, so now earlier if we wanted to what do you say? If I wanted to read this internal table with respect to a single line, how will we write? Read table, LT underscore SNWD SO into your, what do you say, into your work area, index 1, right? Read table, LT underscore SNWD underscore SO into data ls underscore SNWD underscore SO index 1, right? If I want to read with the what do you say, index 1, right? Now if I say you that from this point onwards you forget making use of read table completely, you don't need to write read table at all. In the very worst scenario only you need to use read table. Otherwise, no need to make use of read table. No need. Why I say this? Example, I'll just comment this line. Data ls underscore SNWD underscore SO equals to make use of the internal table first, LT underscore SNWD underscore SO, make use of third bracket, open and start, give the index position 1 and done. That's it. This is your read table. Data, work area, whichever you wanted to declare, inline declaration equals to your internal table, open bracket, close bracket, and your index position. That's it. Yes, Willie, right. That's it. So that's why I was telling from this month onwards, if I tell you not to use read table at all, I am correct in my words. In case of very much worse condition or worse scenario, then only you need to do this. But as of now, and since use all these things since these last 6-7 months, it's like if I write 100 lines of code, it only 1 or 2 lines if I have written read table. Otherwise, it's always this thing of code. So now this is with your primary index, right? Now suppose we have to use the read table with key. So how we have to write? So read table LT underscore SNWD underscore SO into data ls underscore SNWD underscore SO1, because I have already declared SO, so I'll declare with SO1 with key. I used to write, suppose example SO underscore ID equals to okay, before we write this, let me see what data we have in LT underscore SNWD underscore SO. Just a second. I'll also show you one more thing. I'll put data LB underscore flag equals to X, so that to stop the debugger. That's it. There is no other purpose. Okay, I had written it here. Okay, fine. Let me debug the same. So see here, LT underscore SNWT underscore SO. Let us see the data. Okay, so 0, then 500, and rest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And if you see here, LS underscore SNWT underscore SO, if I double click on this, LS underscore SNWT underscore SO, actual type SNWT underscore SO, structure, length 314. If I expand this, see here, the entire data came with respect to index 1. See, index 1 is 50000, right? So this is 5000. Whatever data you are seeing here, the same data is here. Same data. Entire data. Yeah, Krishna, you can put anything. No, Gaurav, that's what I'm telling. I'll go one by one. Just have patience. I'll cover one by one. I'll cover all the points. So let me come out of this. Let me close this. Okay, I was here. I'll remove the breakpoint. Now what I was telling, a read table. I was in read table, right? So read table with key SO underscore ID. I'll use the value as which was ending with 008. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 10. Okay. With key as this currency underscore code equals to, I'll put USD and billing underscore status equals to P. Okay. So earlier while using read table, we used to make checks called size sub RC. If size sub RC equals to 0 and if and so on. Right. So if it is equals to 0, then we used to write. Let me write something. Write ls underscore snw2 underscore so1 and let me write the so underscore id for this example I'm just showing. Let me activate the same and let me execute. So see here, the data comes, right? Because it is able to find this record with respect to key. Now, with the new syntax, I had done this with the respect of your primary index. Now, with respect to this key, if I want to make use of, then how do I write? So, let me comment this part. I'll write data ls underscore snw2 underscore so1 equals to, I'll make use of again the internal table, open bracket, close bracket. Now, what you need to do is just give the component names as in the field names. So underscore ID equals to 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then your, I'll copy paste from here, tell this part, and I'll put it here. That's it. So say this. It is throwing you a, okay, we have forgot space. Okay, there has to be a space here. Fine. So now if I see here, now somebody was asking me whether size sub RC will be applicable or not for this syntax. Okay, for your kind information, with most of the new modern syntaxes, size sub RC doesn't come into picture. That's why I told at the starting when I was talking about the agenda, if while reading an internal table, if you don't find a line, how do we handle those scenarios? We will be covering that as well. So this was when you want to read an internal table with the help of a primary index, work area equals to internal table, open bracket, close bracket as in the third bracket, and index position. Then here data work area internal table and with respect to whatever key you want to give, that is SO underscore ID currency code this and this. Fine. Then if you want to see whether data is there or not, let me write ls underscore snwd underscore so1. Let me give any value. Example changed by. Fine. Example. Let's see whether we have any output or not for this. Let me activate the same. Let me run the output and see here changed by this random value came. Whatever is there in the database table. Okay. Now suppose see here. Suppose if instead of 0, if I instead of writing 0, 5 and so on, if I just give 5, okay. What will happen? Let me show you what will happen. Just focus here. If I give this and with this new syntax, and moreover there is no concept of size of RC in picture, right? So there is no size of RC in picture. Now what will happen? Just focus here very carefully. This will be a common observation. If you use this, you will come across this scenario a lot. If I do F8, dump, this dump will come. Get used to this dump. See here, if you find exception CX SY ITAB line not found and ITAB line not found, remember that there is a dump is occurring with respect to this new syntax of read table and that a particular line is not existing in that internal table. That's why this exception will come. That's why what I have said here is if I go here, see, read internal table with the help of table expressions, I tab this. By making use of primary index we saw, by making use of free key we saw, right? In case if a row is not found, then there will be a runtime error that table like not found will be generated as shown above, as I showed you this error, and you need to make use of this exception that CX SY ITAB line not found. As in what I mean is, there are multiple scenarios to handle this line not found issues. One of the scenarios is you can make use of this exception inside a try and try statement. So what I mean is put a try, put a and try and catch the exception, catch CX underscore SY underscore ITAB underscore line not found, table row not found, system exception. Okay, that's it. Now let me activate this again. Now control and execution done. Let me execute this. Now see, no result here because it is did not found. The dump did not come. Suppose if I pass a proper value here, so this is just to as a precautionary measure if you want to avoid any kind of dump. So now let me activate the same, do an F8 and I don't think I wrote anything. Okay. Let me debug and show you this thing, how it is behaving. I'll put a breakpoint here. I'll activate it. I'll debug the same. Now if I debug the same, see here. SOID, if I go here, it is with 05008, right? But I have tried to pass here 5 with starting from 5. So if I do an F5 now, see here it directly goes to this catch exception. Can you see? It directly goes to this catch exception. And once it catches the exception, it will help in avoiding me to throw the dump. And once I do an F8, it does not give me any value. This is one way to handle in case any dump occurs if you are trying to read an internal table with free key or with any primary index. This is one way. Let me tell you, this is one way. I'll tell you multiple ways. This is only one way, by catching the exception. Now, let me rerun the same, control and activate the same. Now let me again take the output. Okay. Now if I do an F5 here, see here, it does not go to the catch statement because data found, right? So if I do ls snwd underscore so1 and changed by, so this value is coming. So as I told you, if you want to make it a habit that whenever you are writing this read table statement with this new syntax, whatever ways I'll tell you to handle this kind of error, that is table line not found, please make sure that you put in this, because even during at any point of time, if though we can be 100% sure the data will be there, but if any situation arises where data is not there, then it will go for a dump. So you need to make sure that you accommodate your code with any of these ways as I am telling you, to avoid this kind of dump issues while your code is getting executed in production, dev or quality environment. This was way one. Now let me show you the other way. There is a function called line exists. So if what I mean is, to avoid the above exception, apart from this catch exception, that is cxsy itab line not found, you can make use of functions such as line exists, line index, or by assigning a default value, or by making use of optional. This line exists, which we'll be focusing now, this returns you either true or false. So as you are asking me whether size of our return code is 0 or 4, similarly if you make use of this line exists, then it makes you return true or false. This line index either gives you a value with respect to that index found, or it gives you 0, and then we will see these two. So first let us focus on line exists. So similarly, if I write line exists, open bracket, close bracket, then pass the internal table here. So lt underscore snwd underscore so, as you are reading this statement, similarly write it here. Similarly, same to same. Okay, don't give any 0 because I want to show you the dump. This is your second way. Way to line underscore exists. Okay, and put a space. So if the line exists, as in while you are trying to read this table with the help of this table expression, if any line exists of this type, then only what do? That data ls underscore snwd underscore so underscore 2 equals to, then you just copy paste this part and put it here, and if that's it. So let me activate this code. Let me put the breakpoint from here. Let me put a breakpoint here, and let me show you how this works. Okay, so the code is activated. Let me go to the debugger perspective. line comes here. See here, focus here. I'm trying to read this, right? So if line exists, see, either it has to return true or false, right? So since this is not true because there is no such line found with this, if it is true only, then it will go inside. If it is false, it will not go inside. Since it is false, it did not go inside and it will avoid the dump. This is another way of handling. So either you can catch an exception, always implement this code. Second way, make use of line exists. Okay, this is the second way. Now coming to the third way. Let me close this. Coming to the third way, by making use of line underscore index. So what will your line underscore index do? As I told you, it will either return you 0 or it will return the index position where the line is found. So line underscore index, similarly open bracket, close bracket, put the same thing here, Control C, Control V, put an end. Then as I told you, you can make use of check if index is greater than 0, then endif. If it is greater than 0, then only pass the value to this work area. That is ls underscore snwd underscore so2 equals to lt underscore snwd underscore so. And since you have found the index position here, so give the index here. This is in type I. So see, now let me indent this. Let me activate the code. Now let me show you here what will happen. Let me again go to the debugger position. Let me remove the debugger from here. Let me put the debugger here. Let me activate this, execute this again. Once we go to the debugger perspective, see here, this is index, right? So index is of type I. Initial value is 0, right? Because type I initial value is 0. Now if I do an F5 here, see, index is 0 because it did not find any line with respect to this record, right? So now if I do this, as in if I execute the next line, it did not go inside, then it came out here. So if I do an F8, now example, I pass a data which has got data, as in if I give a 0 here, and again I activate the code here, and if I do an F8 here, now if I do an F5 here, and let me show index, now index value is C. It gives you the index position that it is found, the record is found at line number 8. So now if I do an F5 here, now see, this will give me the index with respect to this thing, and then that's it. So either you will get 0 or you will get the index position with respect to that line. So Krishna, the question that you are asking me that I am reading internal table 2 times, I am just telling you all the ways. You can either catch the exception to avoid this dump, you can either make use of line exists, or you can either make use of index, or the other 2 ways which I will be telling you now. It depends on you how you want to use it. Second point, with this new syntax, read table processing is much more faster. If you just try to, you will not be able to understand the difference between just 10 records or 11 records. Try to read multiple huge amounts of data, as in lakhs and all. Then try to understand the difference when you are trying to read the table through the conventional read table, and when or am I not audible? Hello? Hello? fine now? So from where did we miss? I'll just recap that part. Did we were we on lines with this index part? Okay, I'll just recapitulate what I was telling. So I was telling is that now with this new syntax, that binary search is gone. There will be no concept of this binary search. Earlier we used to read table and then add binary search to perform binary search, and then prior to that we used to sort it. There will be no concept of binary search. Second point, as I was telling, these are the different ways. It's up to you how you want to use it. Normally this index, I'll just tell you, see, scenario, real-time scenario. There is a particular index which you want to find with respect to certain record. If it is matching, you want to get the index value, and then you want to get this value. Then go for this way 3. Second, line exists. If you want to check parallelly, like suppose 2 lines exist, then you want to do a third manipulation, right? Then make of line exists. If line exists this, and line exists this, and line exists this, then you go for this. Then first part, this try and try catch exception. This will anyways be reading it only once. So if you are okay with this try and try, put it under a try and try and put this exception, then you go with this. Yes, from see with Stephanie, if you ask me this thing with S4HANA into picture, this indexes and all, most of them, though they exist, but they are not much more relevant. Because S4HANA, the system has been designed in such a way that they have gone away with those huge hash tables and all. Most of the things they are manipulating everything on transparent tables only. And indexes and all are also not more into picture. You cannot, how can you have fields as dynamic? You cannot have fields as dynamic, right? Whatever work area or internal table you have generated, the same thing you have to use it here. No, Ankit, you cannot use size sub-RC with all these new syntaxes. That's why I'm trying to say these exceptions, catch exception, make use of line exists, make use of index. You cannot do this thing. See, Ankit, to tell you frankly, what I'm telling, so transporting no fields and all, you don't need to do it here. See, what I am telling you is just, first of all, you need to understand that I am not using any kind of read table. So if you still, that's what I told you. If there is any scenario 1% and 2% where you want to read table, transporting no fields and all, then you can easily go ahead with that. But in 99% of the scenarios, you want to read table, manipulate data, do ifs and buts, do plus and minus, do here and there, do all kind of validations. Go with all these. I am telling you, trust me, fetch around lack of records and then try to read the table with this and then try to read from any of this and see the difference. You will be able to see the difference in the milliseconds. You will really be able to see the difference. Yes, you can use which one? If you want to use a field symbol, use a field symbol here. Here I am passing to a work area. If you have already assigned a field symbol, use a field symbol here. That's it. But this is internal table. This, how will you make it a field symbol? This has to be an internal table because you are trying to read this with the help of table expression and putting it into an operand position. Gaurav, you need to understand that I am not using this read table into data that is the field symbol. This if you want to use, then you need to use read table, this thing, into a field symbol, whatever you want to do, and then manipulate, right? I'm not using this read table statement at all. If you want to use the syntax transporting no rows, then only use, otherwise not required at all. Just use the value. Okay, now let me go to way 4. This is much more better and I like this a lot. Just you can just tell me if you like this way 4 a lot. Way 4, by making use of something called optional and value operator. So what do I mean is data ls underscore snwd underscore so3 equals to value hash. Just see here what I'm going to do. lt underscore snwd underscore so, put whatever you want to read put it here and add a optional keyword to it. So the benefit that you get here is, suppose if I want to write ls_snw_so3 example, if I want to get so_id. Okay, so now ls_snw2_so3, if I want to get this example, if I don't pass this value, okay, and now let me activate the code, and now let me show you by putting a breakpoint here. I'll remove the breakpoint from here. So value then optional. Okay, now if I do an F5 here, see here ls_snwd_so3, if you see, it does not have any data, but still, see, I read it once only. I did not read it twice, right? I read it once. Just that adding this keyword called optional and putting it under the syntax of value hash will avoid you the dump. That's why I told I like this, because it reads also once, and just by adding optional it avoids the dump also, and I don't need to catch any exception. So if I now write the same, I will not get any value because there is no value. So just by adding optional, your work is done. That's it. Just add this optional keyword and write it inside a value hash. So your work is done. This is your way forward, and I prefer this a lot because here the read also happens once and the dump is also avoided just by adding this optional. Okay. That Dinesh, we will cover that part in the next week. We'll cover one by one. Don't worry. We will cover all. How to move data from one internal table to other internal table. We'll cover all, Dinesh. Okay. Just be with me. We will go step by step. We'll cover all. So, what I was telling you, let me open the line a bit now. Let's have a discussion for 5 minutes with whatever, till now, whatever we have done. Any doubt? They want to ask me anything? Please feel free to ask me. Whatever we did all this till now, concatenation operator and this read. Yeah, tell me.
So, SAP has this code migration functionality. Will this automatically migrate old syntaxes into new, or it has to be done?
No. Till now, good question. Till now, I haven't seen any tool which will migrate from old syntax to new syntax. See, tell me one thing. What's your good name?
Narendra.
Okay, Narendra, tell me one thing. This old syntax to new syntax depends on we as a developers, right? On how we are writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as of now, there is no such tool like which will migrate the code from old syntax to new syntax. It depends on us how we are changing any ancient codes or the old codes, or while writing any new reports or doing any kind of new developments, how we adopt this approach to write this. If you see, if you are working in any project and suppose if any SAP guy is also working with you, you will also start seeing that they have also adapted to this new way of writing codes. Earlier, they were also writing like read table without inline declaration and all, but now they have also adapted to. Now, I'll just tell you a simple scenario. Okay, I was working in a project where I was working with SAP guys. Example. Okay, there what they did initially when they used this syntax, they forgot to give this exception. Okay, I'm just telling you, they forgot to give this exception. And in production, when we just monitored the dumps for one day, there were thousands and thousands of dumps. So they had to again introduce this try and try. And then I found that this is much more better just by adding value optional, and after if I handle it any way how I want. So in that way. Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, the reason just why I asked is, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, one by one.
Yeah, this is Kiran.
I can't hear you. Can you be a bit louder, please?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
A bit better. Tell me, what's your name?
Okay. My name is Kiran. Okay.
Okay.
So earlier and all, right, when we are using read statements, we always used to use binary search to improve performance and mainly due to performance. Don't you think that is valid anymore with this new syntax?
No, with this new syntax, you will never be able to use that binary search.
No, you will not be able to use
whatever scenarios that I told you till now. There is no such addition of the syntax called binary search. If you really want to do binary search, then you have to go with this. But that's why I'm telling you, just try once, fetch around lakhs or 10 lakhs of records, try to use this next statement and try to use this. You will be able to see the difference. I've used it, I've seen the difference. By trying to measure the runtime analysis, I've seen the difference in milliseconds.
Okay, so the client where I've been working is like very... Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me? Hello?
I think Kiran asked it. I don't know. Any further question?
Yeah, hi, this is Imtiaz.
Yeah, Vimla, as I told you, from 7.4 onwards, you can use all these new syntaxes. ECC, NetWeaver Stack, 7.4 onwards, all these new syntaxes are applicable. If you can see the training name, it is like ABAP 7.4, 7.5 with CDS and AMDP. Kiran, I think we lost you. You can go on mute or you can again ask me later.
Hello?
Manikanta, conversion and conversion hash. See, simple funda for all of you. This hash operand you will use when the left side, that is to which you are assigning the value or whatever you are doing it, if that the data type is already known. Suppose lv underscore var equals to conv hash, that means lv underscore var, the data type is already predefined. If the data type is not predefined, any audio issues here? Okay, so what I'm telling, conversion and conversion hash, just keep in mind, whenever you're using hash, this left side should be predefined. If I'm using inline declaration here, this will get its data type on the basis of this type, right? When I'm trying to read this, it will get its data type as it's a structure or whatever it is. Similarly, when I'm trying to do conversion hash, so no, whoever wants to speak, they have to mute and tell me. I have unmuted the conference for all of you, and I just put a mute to all of you. Whoever wants to say anything, they can just go unmute themselves and speak.
Hello? Hello? I have a question with concatenate.
So, Noor, if you see here, how I have added a separator here, see. Anything you want to put it here. No, whether you want to put it in this syntax, you want to put semicolon, colon, any separators, anything. You want to put space, anything. Put it here, any kind of separator. And if you want to put it in this syntax, put it under quotes. In this way, you have to do. And so, what I was telling about conversion and conversion hash. So, if your what I was telling this the left hand side is predefined, you go ahead with conv hash. If your left side you are doing an inline declaration and you need to tell that which type of data type it has to be, you have to specify conv data type and then the expression. I hope it's clear now. The person who had doubt on conv and conv hash. Is it clear, Manikanta? See that, Krishna, this is why I was telling you, you are not using this read statement, right? Read internal table, assigning work into your field symbol with key, field 1 equals to value 1, whatever it is. Here, if you see this new syntax, I am just specifying your internal table, open bracket, close bracket, as in the third bracket, either index positions, or I am specifying with free key or whatever it is. I am not writing here. This, if you want to specify to a field symbol here, you declare a field symbol and assign a value. That's it. The process will remain the same. Yes, Arijit. That is the assignment. I'll be giving an assignment today where I'll be making you use some of the functionalities like to upper or to lower or conversion exit, alpha input, and all those things. Yes, see Aldo, people can still use old syntax, but if SAP going forward with this new NetWeaver stacks, one day we don't know SAP is highly unpredictable, right? We never knew that on 13th November the Neo foundry will be, the Neo platform will be gone. Similarly, if SAP suddenly comes and say that we are not going to support any kind of old syntaxes now and you have to use modern syntax only, so better be prepared than to face the worst scenarios, right? Does that make sense, Aldo? Okay then. Okay. Fine then. I thought you had some different point of view. Not an issue. Fine. Can we have a 2-3 minutes of break? Do all agree that can we have a 2-3 minutes of break? Okay, fine. Let's connect at 8:59. Let's have 3 minutes of a short water energetic break. Let's connect back at 8:59. Okay, let's start then. So before I tell you the fifth way, I have started with a thing called value. Okay, so let us show how will we pass values to structures or complex deep structures and internal tables by making use of this value expression. Okay. So suppose earlier begin of by underscore old, suppose there was a field one which was of type tab and end of by underscore old. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll declare a work area type by underscore old. Okay, and I'll declare, earlier I used to declare an internal table type standard table of by underscore old with empty key, as in I don't want to give any key. Fine. Now suppose earlier when you wanted to pass values and append to a internal table, so w underscore old f1 equals to, suppose I want to pass the value as a example, and then I used to write append w underscore old to lt underscore old, right? Let me suppose now I want to pass two more records. So if I want to pass B and if I want to pass C, okay, fine. I used to do like this, right? And then if I use, well, display lt underscore old, so cl underscore demo underscore output. If I want to display underscore data, shift and enter as I told you yesterday. Do this, pass the value as lt underscore old and pass the value as old way of adding values. Okay, and F2, control and F3, and let me now execute the output and show you. So fine, field 1 ABC. This we used to do earlier, right? Now suppose I don't want to do like this. How do I do it now? So let me just copy this part. Type begin of ty underscore new, ty underscore new. Let me comment this part. Okay, now here important point is see this. I will create a types tty underscore new type table of ty underscore new with empty key. Fine. Do a shift and F1. Now here I'll do an inline declaration, create a internal table data lt underscore new equals to, use the value operator, and this internal table I want as this table type. So what table type? tty underscore new open bracket close bracket. One important funda before I start this value operator. See here, there will be two syntaxes only, just keep in mind, either data type or hash. As I told you, if your left side to which you are assigning value, the data type is already predefined, don't use a data type. For most of the scenarios, since we will be using inline declaration a lot, use data type, that's it. So the first syntax will be, if you are passing values to structures, component 1 value, component 2 value, and so on. If you are passing values to internal table, open bracket, close bracket for the internal table, then whatever components, open bracket, close bracket, open bracket, close bracket. So let me elaborate in this thing. Here, data LT underscore new value. Guys, am I audible, right? You people are able to see my screen and you people are able to hear me, right? Okay, fine. So data internal table equals to value. Remember this, it will be a table type. It has to be a table type of this. Otherwise, it will not allow. LT underscore new value table type, and I want to pass the values to this. Right? I want to make it as in what I told. I want to have 3 records. Right? So open bracket, close bracket, F1 equals to A, as I told you, open bracket, close bracket, F1 equals to B, then open bracket, close bracket, F1 equals to C, and done. That's it. So, as I told you, the entire, suppose this is my internal table, open bracket, close bracket, start from the left and then proceed forward. So since I put this open bracket, close bracket, now what is my requirement? That I want to have in this internal table 3 rows, right? And this is having only 1 component. So this component 1 and the value. Remember, if it was a structure, it would have been a straightforward open bracket, close bracket, and then the component and the values. But this is my internal table which I want to pass, right? This is my internal table which is a value type of this, because this is a type table of this. So here open bracket, close bracket, whatever component name you are having, value, open bracket, close bracket, component name, different value, open bracket, close bracket, component name, different value. Okay, so now if I use, remember one point, the CL demo output display do not use in your real-time projects. I'm just showing this for your quick output scenario, that's it. And also this does not support your nested table types and all. It supports only your plain flat structures. So tables which are having flat structures, it only supports that. Don't use this CL demo output display in your real-time projects. Okay, so now new way of adding values. Now let me activate this. Now let me do this. Control and F3. Now let me activate it. See here, F1 ABC. Now let us debug this once and understand. I'll put a breakpoint here. I'll do this here. So if I do an F5 here now, see here, LT, this will be of type table C, actual type, table types. And this type is of type of this structure, local. Whatever local table type I've created, you have to create a local type and assign this here. This type should be of this local table type. So here if I double click on this LT underscore new, see, first row, second row, third row, 3 rows created. This one was the first row, this one was the second row, this one was the third row. Now let me complicate further more with some further complicated scenarios. Now let me create a more table nest, much more complicated table type. So what I want to say is, let me copy till this part. Types begin of UI underscore example, and here I will give column 1 type I, then your column 2 type C, then your column 3 type datum, okay, end of UI underscore example, okay. Now this I'll try to make it as a LT underscore example types standard table of ty underscore example with empty key okay, then begin of ty underscore complex example. So still I am doing my local types declaration only. If you see, I haven't yet put any full stop. What I'll do, column 1 type I. Now this column 2 will be of type of this structure. See here what I'm doing. Column 2 will be type of this structure. Okay. Then column 3 will be type of this internal table type. Okay. So LT underscore example and end of ty underscore complex underscore example, and now again I'll create one more table type LT underscore complex underscore example. Empty key means that I am not defining any key. If you have seen local table types declaration, you can give this type of key with key and all those. There can be a lot of variations. Empty key means I am not giving any key. I am not giving any key because I am not sorting this and all, right. I am creating only a standard table. I don't want to provide any key. That's it. LT underscore complex example type standard table of ty underscore complex underscore example. So see here what I have done. Just understand this part first. First, if I go from bottom to top, this is my table type which is having 3 components. Column 1 which is of type I, column 2 which is of type of this structure, and column 3 which is of type of this table type. Now column 2 which is of type of this structure, it is having again 3 components. Column 1, column 2, column 3. One is of type I, char and datum. And column 3 is of type of such table type which is the table of this structure. Okay. You need to understand how to create these types and all. This will be very handy. This you need to understand. In case if you are not clear with this. So first we will see how to pass values to a plain simple structure. As in we will pass value to this simple structure. Okay. So data ls underscore struct1 equals to value. What I told, you need to use the local, since I am doing an inline declaration here, you need to use the local table type or the local declaration. So structure local declaration is ty underscore example, right? So ty underscore example, open bracket, close bracket. Then here, remember here always there will be space first. COL, see here, if you put control space, all these fields will automatically come. Column 1 equals to, suppose 1. Column 2 equals to A and column 3 equals to, suppose I put side item. Okay. Remember one space is required. See, otherwise error will come. One space before the start, one space after the end. Okay. Then suppose write ls underscore struct1 and I suppose I want to show the value of the date, column 3. Let me pass all the values, then we will run it once. Suppose after I pass the structure, I want to pass the value to a simple internal table, as in this simple internal table. What I will write? Data lt underscore table equals to value lt underscore example, open bracket, close bracket, put the full stop. This is the table type. What did I say you? Open bracket, close bracket. One is for your internal table, another is for the different components. Now here, this is the type standard table of this. So if I try to repeat this structure 3 times or 2 times, I have to repeat it so many times. So now suppose I have to pass the same values, right? So column 1 equals to 1, column 3 equals to, now here just to differentiate, what I'll do, I'll put side item -2. Now I want to have one more record in this internal table. Copy paste the same, put it here, make the change as column 1 as 2, make this change as column, this as B, and make this change as side item minus -1. Okay. Now let me show you the data. Here it will be LT underscore table. Let me comment this part. This will be LT underscore table, and let me demo on passing values to a simple table. Now let me show you the output once. Shift and F1, Control and F3. Now if I activate the same, we'll see this value also, we'll see this value also. Okay. Now see here, column 1, 1A, side item -2, today's tick, side item -2, 2020-0904, and column 2, side item -1. And if I close this, see the structure output also came. Okay, so let me debug this once and show you. So now ls structure 1, which is of type Day underscore example, which is a structure, right? If I do an F5 and if I show here ls structure 1, see 1A 2020-0906 side item. Similarly, now if I go here to this LT underscore table, and if I collapse this and click on LT underscore table, which is of type LT underscore example. Now if I do an F5 here and LT underscore table, see 1A, side item -2, side item -1. Now let me complicate it further. Now let's move on to the complex part. So this was still we were passing to the plane. Now we'll try to pass this value to a nested structure. How do we pass value to a nested structure? So data ls complex structure value hash open bracket close bracket. For a structure, as I told you, always put only one thing. Okay, so now what I'll do, sorry, not value hash, my mistake. So I'll take this ty underscore complex underscore example, this structure which is having column 1 as type I, column 2 as type underscore example, and column 3 as LT underscore example. I'll take this because this structure is having a structure within itself, and this structure is having an internal table also. So ty underscore complex underscore example open bracket close bracket. Now here pass column 1 equals to 1, pass column 2. In column 2, if you see, there will be again column 2 will have column 1, column 2 and column 3. So column 2, column 1 equals to 1, column 2 equals to B, and column 2, column 3 equals to side item. Let me put it here. So as to make it easy. And here I'll pass under column 3 rather than I'll pass LT underscore table here, because I already passed this value here. See, one thing also I could have done, instead of LT underscore table, I would have put this entire expression like this. But since already I have this value, I can put LT underscore table here. Okay. Now let me do a shift and F1 and let me show you the values. Activated, I'll put a breakpoint here. I'll remove the breakpoint from here and let me debug the same. Now the debugger starts. So LT complex structure. See here, this is of this structure, and if I do an F5 here, and if I see the value here, column 1 is of this one, column 2 is of this structure, and column 3 is of type of internal table. As you can see the values here. See. So now I'll just do F8 and I'll go to this code. So what I was telling is, instead of LT table, what I could have done is, first of all, instead of column 2, I am passing this column 2, column 1 and on all, right? Instead of that, directly to column 2, I can pass this structure as ls struct 1. See how I'll make it complicated. Column 2 equals to ls struct 1 and here I am passing this. Now, instead of ls struct 1, suppose, can't I pass this? I select this here and I pass this here. Okay. And instead of LT table, can't I pass this? Now tell me. Here, column 3, let me take it here. Now tell me. If can't I write like this, yes or no? Yes or no? Can I write like this? So now if I activate the same and activate the same, let me comment out this part because this is creating issues. And I don't want to show this as well. Now let me activate the code and now let me debug the same. So I'm in ls complex structure. I'm here in the structure. Now let me do an F5. Do I get the value? Let me go here, 1. Let me go here, 1 is structure. Let me go here, double click on this. Yes, same result. So what I want to make you all understand through this is that rather than breaking it up into several parts, we all have to make a habit that in one go, even if it's a deep nested type or whatever it is, we can pass all the values at one go. Initially, it will be difficult. You try to break it up, put the values, then you paste it. When you start practicing more and more, you can directly pass the value. Okay, one more thing. I have given here ty underscore example, right? Now, if I give hash here, wait a second. If I give hash here, and if I do a shift and F1, if I do a control and F3, and if I again activate the same, won't I get the same result? Let us see. Let me do an F5 here. Let me go to the complex structure here. See, the value came. See, the value came. And see, the value came. Okay, now you should ask me, why not value hash? Why value hash will work here? Because if you see, this ty underscore complex example is already doing the part of your declaration of all these things. Why do I need to declare again? Yes, I'll do, right. This ty underscore example, complex example is already handling your declaration part here. So as a part of this, this will take care of all those things. Even if you specify or not, there is no harm, but you don't need to specify. That is the only reason. Okay. Okay. Now, let's move forward. So, let me create one more complex table now. Let me remove the breakpoint. This was my structure, data, data LT underscore complex. I am creating a table now. LT underscore complex underscore table, value, table type, LT underscore complex underscore example, right? So LT underscore complex underscore example, open bracket, close bracket, put a full stop. Now here, this is of type of this, right? So what I'll do here, first with respect to this first record, open bracket, close bracket, put a column 1 equals to 1, put a column 2 equals to ls underscore struct 1, and put a column 3 equals to lt underscore table, right? Now similarly, let me create one more record. What did I use? Where did I go wrong? Value of the generic type LT underscore complex example cannot be constructed. Where did we go wrong? Okay, sorry, with empty key I had missed. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to create this internal table of this type, okay, LT underscore complex underscore example, and I'm passing these values here, okay. So now, once I pass this example, I want to show you how to read chain table expression now. So now that I've created this table, let us first analyze what data we have in this table, right? So what data we have in this table is, first let me put a breakpoint, let me activate the code, let me put a breakpoint here, okay, and let us debug this once and let us see which data we have in LT underscore complex underscore table. If we do an F5 here, so this is a structure. Here, if I go here, this has this value. If I go here, this has got further this value. And if I go back, then this has got again further 2 records. Okay. So now my requirement is that if I want to read this deep table, how do I read this example? Okay. So suppose my requirement is that in this LT underscore complex underscore table, I want to read this record which is having column 1 equals to 1. Okay, just a second. I have to change I forgot to change one data. So my requirement is that I want to read this first row which is having column 1 equals to 1. On the basis of this, from this column 3, that is this internal table for where the value is B, I want to read the date. As in, what I mean is, let me debug and show you. This is my data. So what I want to read is, with respect to the index 1 where column 1 is 1, I want to read this record. With respect to this, I want to go to column 3. For this column 3, where my value is column 2 equals to B. With this index, I want to get the value of this date. How do I handle this? This is my requirement. Okay. As in, I want to read the record with respect to which is having column 1 as 1. With respect to that, I want to get the data from column 3, and even with only that column 3 value I need, with respect to which the value of column 2 is B. Okay, so how do I write this now? So for this, we will make use of the chain table expression. So how do I write it here is, instead of using multiple read table statements, we will do this at one go. As in, data LB underscore date equals to LT underscore complex underscore table, open bracket, close bracket. I want to read where column 1 equals to 1, right? Now for that column 1 equals to 1, I want to go to column 3. See here, I want to go to column 3. With respect to that column 3, I want to read the value of which column 2 equals to B. I want to get this index position, right? So column 2 equals to B. Now with respect to column 2 equals to B, I want to read this value. So column 3. Now let me write it. LV underscore date. Now let me activate the same, and now let me show you all the output. Okay, now see here how I wrote. Now let me do one F5 LV underscore date, see 5/9/2020. So what I did, LT underscore complex table. So here LT underscore complex table, see here, and how I'm writing the code. I need where column 1 equals to 1, right? This is my column 1 equals to 1. I need to go to column 3. So suppose if I double click on this LT complex table, column 1 equals to 1, column 3. See this and match this. You will automatically get your answer, column 3. Now with respect to this column 3, I want to need the value of that date only for which your column 2 is B, right? Now if I double click on this, this is my where column 2 equals to B, right? Now if I double click on this, so column 3, then column 2 equals to B, and then you get your column 3. That's how I reach to this change table expression. So this is called chain table expression. And why it is very much beneficial, because earlier if you have to use this read table statement, read this with respect to index 1, right? And you get this entire record, right? Once you get this record, again you will put it into an internal table with respect to this column 3, one more read statement, right? Then once you get read 3, again you will read that internal table with respect to with key column 2 equals to B into a work area or a field symbol, and from there you will get the value. So instead of those 3-4 read table statements, now what I am doing, I can make use of the chain table expression, LT complex table, where column 1 equals to 1. I get this first record, right? Now with respect to this, I want to read column 3. In even column 3, I want to get that date only for which column 2 equals to B. So if I give column 3 equals to B, it will automatically come to the second index position. And with respect to this, I want to read column 3. So with the help of this, in this way, with the help of chain table expression, you can read multiple type of this complex type of data in one shot. Is this clear? How to make use of this read table, rather than read table, how to make use of chain table expression to get the data? Guys, is it clear? So a simple question to you all. Now that you know this chain table expression, do you still prefer that multiple read statements, or you prefer this chain table expression? Which one? Okay, Ankit, see, my requirement was that with respect to this internal table, I want to get the value from this column 3, for which column 1 equals to 1. So first of all, column 1 equals to 1 will give me this index position 1, entire all the rows records, right? Now with respect to that, I want to go to column 3, hyphen column 3. Now with respect to column 3, come to this LT table, because column 3 contains LT underscore table, right? Now with respect to this LT underscore table, that is column 3, I want that date only for which column 2 equals to B, for which column 2 equals to B, hyphen I want the column 3, and that's it. Simple. Is it clear now, Ankit? Okay. So one important benefit is that though you are thinking that this chain table expression and this new table expressions can only be used for reading, no, it can be used for writing also. Like I am putting it on the right hand side, similarly the same thing I can put it on the left hand side. Example, I'll put this, I'll put it here, I'll put it here, and earlier the value was side data -1, right? Now what I'll do, I'll change the value to side data -4. Okay, now let me do this, Control and F3, and let us execute. Now let us see whether a change is there or not. Okay. So now if I do F5 here, F5 here, F5 here. So focus here, LB underscore date is 5/9/2020, right? Now if I make it to side data -4, if I do an F5 here, now let us go to LT complex table for this first record. Let me go to column 3. See here, the answer was 5/9/2020. I have done side data -4, the value got changed. So this chain table expression and this table expression is not only being used for reading the data that is on the right hand side of the expression, it can also be used for modifying the data. So earlier we were doing read table, internal table, assigning field symbol, index 1, and then we were passing the, or example, whatever with key and all, then field symbol hyphen the component name, you are passing the value. No more, there is no need to do that anymore. You can use this complex, it can be a complex chain table expression or a simple chain table expression. Just pass the value and the data will be modified. No need to modify. I showed you here. See, did I use any modify statement? See here. This was the output earlier, right? See the same LT complex table, column 1 equals to 1, column 3 equals to, column 3, column 2 equals to B, and this value column 3. Earlier the value was 5/9/2020. I have modified the expression. Did I use modify statement? No. I haven't used any modify statement and the value has got changed. Is it clear, Gaurav? Kiran, as I told you, just you try to fetch 1 lakh records and try to see the difference with read table and all. I'm telling you, just do a runtime analysis. You will be able to understand the time difference. Okay. So I had put a fun example for you all in the PPT. So see here, as I had explained you. Similarly, what I have done, I had tried to create an internal table. This is my structure, which is having again 2 fields, which is having again 2 components. One is of type I and the other is of type internal table. This internal table is again of type of one more internal table, itab1, which is of local table type. And this itab local table type is of type structure. Here I have tried to pass the value in this way. This is my itab column 1, okay. This column 2 is of type itab2, right? Value itab2. And here inside itab2 is of type again of itab1. Inside itab1 I am passing 2 records, okay. Again in itab2 I am further one more passing of itab1. So in this way what I am getting is I get this output. See here, I get this output. So in this output, column 1 is having 2 values, column 2 is having 2 records. There are 2 records totally. This internal table is again of further table type which is having 2 records. And this table type is having a structure which is having this first record as 4, 5, 6, 7 and this is having this. So if you focus here while writing chain table expression, please note in the debugger mode, focus on this statement. This will give you your answer. This is your big hint for using chain table expression. In debugger mode, focus on this statement, how it is navigating. This will help you to find the answer to how to make use of chain table expression. Okay. So if I want to get the data, I was earlier writing read table, internal table into data work area index 2, then again read table and all. This is what I told you. If I'm using this new syntax, at one go I tab index 2, then column 2, index 1, then again index 1, then column 1. With the help of this chain table expression, I can do it one shot. See here. Multiple read statements are being eliminated. Just look at the performance. You are trying to read tables so many times. Just try to use this. Eliminate all such multiple read table statements at one go. Example, if you are working on such complicated example for business partner related data, okay. Business partner related data, the structures are always deep table types or deep structures. Always try to go for this kind. Always try to go for this kind. Don't use multiple read statements. So Kiran, can you see this difference? Multiple read table statements. So guys, a common question to you. See this syntax and see this syntax. I'll just maximize the screen. Give me 1 minute. I think the screen got stuck or something. Anyways, okay. If you just see here, 1 to 1, this, I was doing so many read statements now to get a simple value. I have clubbed everything into one go. I tab 2, column 2, index 1, then again index 1, column 1. Because if you see here, I have to get the value of 13, right? This 13 is with respect to my second row, this internal table. This internal table, again the first row, to come here, this is again a table type, right? Again the first row, and from this first row I am getting 13. So I tab 2, okay, let me relate here. I tab 2 is for this I tab. See here, I tab 2, you come here. Then column 2, you come here. Then column 2, then you come to this first position. This is my first position. That's why I tab 2, column 2, first position, right? Then from this first position, this is again a table type, right? So again I need to go to this first position, right? 13 and 14. So that's why again now index 1. Then I need to read column 1. That's why I tab 2, column 2, 1, 1, column 1. Is this clear to all? Doesn't it look much more better? So I hope you guys are now clear with how to use table expression. Okay. So as I was telling you, the last part to avoid dumps while making use of value is to make use of default. So if you see here, what I have done is I have created a structure data DEF where value I have passed line ID equals to 0, value not found, just for demo purpose. And LT data, my value I have created an internal table and passing these values. So if I just give data result 1 equals to value hash LT data ID equals to 1, which will give me a dump, right? Now to avoid this dump, you can give LT data ID 1. I was using optional, right? Instead of optional, just use default and this structure. See, this DEF can be of anything. It can be of anything, I'm telling you. This can be of anything. This I have just tried to create a structure to show that in case if no data found, I pass a data object of this type to this result 1. It will create a result 1 of this data type. In case if no data is found, it will create a data object of this type DEF. So it will give me 0 and value not found. In case if you want to give a statement like there is no value found, default in this DEF, no need to declare anything, default like value not found and convert it to whatever type you want. So these are the different ways through which you can handle the dumps coming while you are trying to read table by eliminating the read table statement and by making use of the table expression. Just to recap, either you can try and catch the exception, either you can make use of line exists, either you can make use of line index, but in those two you will have a bit because you are again have to read the data. Better if you go with value and optional or you go with value and default. Is it okay, guys? Yes, you will come to know with practice. Don't worry, I will give you assignments now. So, should we discuss the assignment? Should we discuss the assignment first, then we can have a discussion for 5 minutes, and then we can call it a day? Okay. First, let me discuss the assignment with you that I have prepared for you all. Okay, so I have ultimately given 6 questions. Okay, fine. With whatever concepts we have covered till today, day 1 and 2. So the first question is, by making use of the new concatenation syntax, you need to show the below output. So the output will be employee ID. This can be of any value. Is having email ID. This can be of any value. But the restriction is, this employee ID has to be passed to a char type of length 10. But while you are giving the value, it should not be of 10 characters. It has to be less than 10. But while in the output, you have to add leading zeros to it. So this will be hard-coded, but which is of type char 10. But don't give the entire 10 characters. Give up to 7 or 8. And the rest has to come from conversion. Sorry, I'll not say anything. It's up to you how do you use it. But the entire output has to come in one syntax, one line. Entire output has to come in one line. Okay. Second part, as I was telling, this test underscore email, while you are declaring, it has to be in capital letter and you have to make this as a small case. Okay, this has to be a capital letter and this has to, while in the output, it has to be in small case. And this domain can be anything. You can even use your email ID. Any employee ID, you can use anything. Please note, the entire logic has to be written in a single concatenated value. With this, you will be able to practice like how to make use of functions inside your concatenation operator. Functions doesn't mean the different operators that you have for changing values. Okay. Are you clear with the first question? Okay. Now let's go to the second question. Suppose you have to get the current timestamp and convert the same into dd.mm.yyyy space hh:/mm:/ss using this new syntax. Suppose this is your timestamp. Okay. This should be my required output. Required output, date, space, whatever time. And this also has to be done in one line. No multiple lines, in one line. Third question, in your report, you have to have a variable which will be of select options type. It has to accept the material number. Okay. But one problem is that there should not be any interval defined. Okay. There should be no interval, and also if you see here, the value range should be restricted. That is, the user should be able to put only single values here. Because here if you see the tabs, multiple options come, right? Because multiple options has to be eliminated. So user should be able to enter the material number, click on this, it should be able to allow them to enter multiple values, but no, the restriction should be there that they should not be able to enter any kind of value range. When you execute this output, I want the output as material number created on these fields only, material number created on and material type. Logic is you need to get the respective fields MATNL, ERSDA and MATAT from MARA table on passing the respective material number. I have provided you a hint here. For this restriction, you need to make use of this value operator for the value restriction, and using inline declaration and the alias names and all, you need to display this output. You can make use of CL_demo_output. Up to this, is it clear? Up to this question number 3? Is it clear, guys? Okay. Now coming to the question number 4. This, though I have given you the syntax, please make sure that you try to understand this and write it manually. What I have done is I have tried to create an internal table which is of type structure, and this structure is having one component and the other component is referring to again a table type. This table type is again referring to another table type, and this table type is referring to a structure. This structure is again having one component which is referring to one more structure. This structure is again having one component which is referring to one more structure. I have tried to make it a very much deep complex type of a table. Okay. Try to do not copy paste this code. I have given this syntax just for your reference. Understand, try to create this on your own. Try to pass the values as I have passed the values. This is 4, value 1, side item 5 and so on. Try to pass the values. Okay. Once you pass the values, now what I want to do is that by making use of this above internal table which you will create, you need to show the date output from iTab column 2 with respect to that record for which iTab is having column 1 value as 16. That means iTab is having column 1 value as 16. This is my complete first record. This is my complete second record. With respect to this record where column 1 equal to 16, you need to get the value of column 2, field 1 equals to value 7. That is field column 2, field 1, which value is 7. I need to display this date. Okay, I need to display this date, and this date should be in dd.mm.yyy format. Okay, simple, create this internal table as I shown here. Make use of, you have to read the data where column 1 equals to 16 with respect to this internal table record. See where it is column 2, field 1 equals to value 7. Wherever you match this record, with respect to that, you have to get the value of this date. Remember, you have to make use of chain table expression as we discussed. This is a very good question which I have created for you to practice. And everything has to be done in one go. Now suppose in this syntax, if you have found the solution, if you change value 7 to value 9, obviously it will give you a dump. To avoid that dump, I want you to show that output that when you are executing that statement of code, you should get the output that no such date value with respect to value 9 found. Okay, these are the 6 questions which I have prepared for your assignment. This is your entire this week's assignment. Apart from whatever I have taught you, you need to practice this day 1 and day 2. Are you all clear with the assignments? All these 6 questions? Okay. So, solution will also be provided to you. The best, you can obviously take any approach, but make sure that you please finish up all these assignments using modern ABAP syntax only. This I have prepared with, okay, the 6th question is, in this value 7, replace it with value 9. Since, as I told you, if you don't find any table record, it will give you a dump, right? In case if you get a dump, I don't want that dump to be thrown as an output, right? No one likes dumps, right? You need to handle it in such a way that when I execute that statement of code, I should get the output as no such date value with respect to value 9 found. Suppose if in the above scenario, now I change the value of column 2, field 1 to value 9. How do I handle the dump arising, if any? And also, if there is no such line found with respect to any such date value, then we have to get this below output. Yes, you need to create a selection screen. Now, is it clear to everyone? All the 6 questions? All the 6 questions are clear, guys? Okay. Now I'll unmute the line. We can have a discussion for 3-4 minutes and then we can call it a day. Just a second. Ram, while selecting nothing, when you are selecting, you need to write, where did I write today? Select from SND underscore S. So suppose, select from, give the table name SND underscore SO, give the keyword fields and do control and space. You will get all the fields. That's it. And then you can select whatever fields you want and then pass it to an internal table. You can refer to the syntax of yesterday. Yesterday I have done this. Is it okay, Ram?
Yeah, actually, I'm selecting
database table and then just control and space.
Yeah,
Don't write select field 1 from field 2, then control and space will not work.
okay. How can we select profile fields again?
Any further, any questions?
Yeah, Kabir, are you able to hear me?
Guys, I have unmuted you all. Anybody who wants to ask any question, I have muted everyone. Just after this session, team will provide you with the PPT, this code backup, and the assignment, the question, everything. And the recording will be provided to you by the end of the day. Is it fine? Value hash, nothing. See, I told you hash you only use if this is already declared or already predefined. And in all of my cases, I haven't declared it. I'm using inline declaration. Value, use a local type, whether it's a table type or a structure. Then, if it's a structure, open bracket, close bracket, pass the value to the components. Column 1 equals to 1, column 2 equals to A, column 3 equals to side item. If it's an internal table, open bracket, close bracket, then this is the type of this structure. Open bracket, close bracket, finish of the entire record, then open bracket, close bracket, finish of the entire record. That's it. Start from the left, go to the right one. Start from the left, go to the right one. Okay, guys. Then should we call it a day today? We'll again meet next week. I hope you are all clear with all these concepts. I hope today you liked the session. Thank you all for joining today. Please work on the assignments. Even the solution will also be provided to you so that you can compare with what's the best answer. Every approach is perfect, but just you need to understand that you have to go with the modern ABAP syntaxes. Okay, fine. Thanks, guys. Then we can call it a day today. We'll again meet next week. Okay, bye then.